Welcome in, console fans, to the final week of Phase 2. For every league, we've got the Console League, the Minor League, the Premier League, all will conclude this week. But we have, of course, HRX just around the corner, so make sure you're staying tuned to these channels and all of our social media for updates on that. My name is Pretty Hair. I will be your ghost for your guide for the first set today. Joining me is Kresnik. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
I was about to say, I'm really scared now. I didn't know I was sharing the desk with a spirit today.
Halloween's just around the corner. Yes, high five.
Oh, that was it. You were being very festive.
No, my soul's dead right now, Kresnik. None of these games matter. If you're here, it's because you love the Console League, folks. A lot of these standings already are locked in, but all these guys are going to the placement rounds. We've got a lot of good matchups for you today in terms of first seeds. Everyone that you're going to watch today is most likely someone you're going to see at that placement event. So you get a good taste, a good vibe of where they're feeling themselves at in this final week of competition. And our first region, as always, is the EU PS4. We have, of course, Flashpoint versus Ehrenmanner. These are the standings for this region. Flashpoint, the little star notifies or indicates that they are locked in for the placement week. 10, 1, and 25 map differential. They are squared off against Ehrenmanner, who are 8-3. A team that has vastly improved this phase. It's really been nice to see somebody actually give Flashpoint a run for their money.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones who improved, too. I mean, Stush took that game off of them in previous weeks.
Yeah, they actually finished it.
And even though Ehrenmanner's out of contention, I wouldn't be shocked to see them want to fight back a lot today. I mean, they have that 2-1 record with Flashpoint winning that head-to-head, but if they win this, they can come out of this phase with a 2-2 head-to-head against Flashpoint. That's not something I think that's something they'd be proud of if they were able to do that, you know?
Definitely.
So I would definitely expect Ehrenmanner to put up a really strong fight today, even with Land Dreams kind of out of the picture.
Exactly. And of course, we have 4 of these console teams coming to the placement week. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch them. But first, of course, we do want to watch all of these final matches of the PCL. This is it, guys. This is the last week. Taking one quick week break just for travel and things like that for everyone to get in, get settled, and then the action starts the week after. Let's get into the map screen for our first best of 5 of the day between Ehrenmanner and Flashpoint. But first, the bans, of course, Frog Isle, Stone Keep, going to be taken out of the pool. Splitstone Quarry banned away by Flashpoint. Last but not least, Brightmarsh taken away by Ehrenmanner. So none of that snowbally action here in this set. Just a best of 5, though, folks. So not going to have to get super deep into the map pool. We'll go ahead and head to the map screen and see where the first beginnings of this set is going to play out. Now, with nothing on the line, Kresnik, Ice Mine's locked in. Do you think there's going to be any funny business today? Any kind of meme comps?
Maybe from Hype Unit.
Yeah.
If anything, at the end of the day.
I think it depends on that matchup, right? Like you said, like Ehrenmanner are likely to probably go guns blazing in this one.
I would expect some different maps, because if anything, why not use this time, since you can force a team to play a map because of the tournament, right? You know, if you're scrimming and you load in a map and it's something they don't want to play, they can just go, hey, can you please change this? We don't want to play this map, right? But in a tournament, you say, we are picking Timbermill, we are picking Ice Mines, and they can't say, no. That would kind of defeat the whole purpose,
but
right?
We always ban that map.
Oh, God, I'm getting flashbacks to old Splice.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so they can use this to practice.
You're going through your list. How many bans do you have again?
They can use this to practice those maps.
Yeah.
You know, those things that maybe they don't normally do. So Ice Mines, I think, is about expected for that. Not normal, but definitely a little bit off the beaten path for sure.
Vivian going to be locked in here. First, the bans are Victor Willow, Talus, and Atlas. Makoa hovered and locked, of course. One of the couple power tanks still open. Makoa sometimes overlooked on console. Sometimes he's not picked, not banned, or he's picked, 8th or 9th. But Flashpoint have some serious power on this character. They see the value in it. They usually are one to take it. I'll grab the con as well. So no traditional point tank, which is it's a little strange for Ice Mines and could end up hurting them if they're not careful.
To me, it says they want to be really, really aggressive. Walk straight across, and since Grover's being picked up on Ehrenmanner's side, that means they don't have a safe dismount. They're going to have to get their DPS dismounted early to knock the enemy team off their horse. So the Vivian won't be in the fight, which kind of lets them cover a lot of ground. And I guess they do. They might have a traditional point tank here because they're going to potentially lock in Terminus and bring back this NIP triple tank Tyra style of business. And I don't know if they're going to run Hunting Party, because I think Burn Monster is pretty effective against Inara, but if they do, that's a lot of damage. Makoa and Con are pretty high damaging front lines.
They definitely are. Zin is hovered and locked. Drogo's hovered and likely to be locked as well. A lot of insta-gibs on this team, right? If they just end up running Guillotine Zin.
Yeah.
Or even Yomi, right? With all the stacking that's likely to happen, I think either are definitely viable. Every time I think it's going to be Guillotine, it's always just still Yomi. I think maybe
Guillotine's sick. You're right. No, you're actually right at Guillotine being totally playable. I don't know why teams aren't kind of falling back on it more.
It's just, I don't know, out of habit. We'll have to see how it goes. I think Flashpoint probably would have preferred to have Grover here, so it's a good takeaway from Ehrenmanner. This is it, guys. The drafts are locked in. Flashpoint bring out something we've seen before, but not very often on console. It's Triple Tank Tyra, and it's Ice Mines.
Good morning, guys. It's me. It's Fawn and Dolson on this very fine Monday morning. We got Ehrenmanner versus Flashpoint, Ice Mines. I'm ready to see some good old gameplay for sure.
It's going to be a fun Monday. I mean, we have all of your #1 seeds, all of your qualified teams in action. So we're going to get a kind of taste of where they all stand. This is the last day we're going to get an on-broadcast look at all of these teams. Flashpoint and Ehrenmanner have been neck and neck throughout the entire split. So this is going to be a good heat check for them as well. You know, as of late, Flashpoint has been kind of above and beyond Ehrenmanner, literally except for that one week where maybe some Flashpoint members weren't able to make it, and Ehrenmanner was able to grab the win. Flashpoint has been very in control of this matchup, so I expect a strong performance from the red team today.
So am I. We already have the first shots ringing true throughout Ice Mines. Menar's eating a little bit of damage, but the rest of Ehrenmanner are opting to just sit back with that percentage build on Flashpoint's side. 24% already for them while they're biding their time trying to find a way in. But Flashpoint aren't having it. They aren't letting them in at all, and they're just steadily building a percentage. Ehrenmanner have yet to actually touch the point.
Yeah, it's kind of this back and forth between triple frontline and triple DPS where the staying power is just too much for Flashpoint right now. You're getting poked away a little bit. You have some good sustain in the Furia once those heals are hitting, and at 96%, Ehrenmanner's got a hill to climb. 99% in overtime already a factor. 3% for Ehrenmanner. This will be the first time they'll actually be able to touch. Good lad, living very, very on the edge right there. Literally almost got knocked over by the combustible, but he's able to find that opening first blood onto Ernest. Well, they're actually able to get Legacy, which is good. They're trading out 1 for 1, 42% to 99. All they need is a little bit more time on the point on Flashpoint's side, and a good pick on Vivian might be it. It's a big thing being able to get rid of the Vivian here in this case. That's so much of the health melt that Ehrenmanner has, and now it's just down to a good spite from King Nick. It's all for naught, though, as Flashpoint grab point #1. And it's kind of this weird dynamic playing against triple frontline in that, you know, the first one to die from Flashpoint, Ehrenmanner finally gets a pick, but it's Legacy. And, you know, you have 2 other front lines on your team that are able to continue the fight going. And just the way Flashpoint have been playing around that composition, I think has been very solid, and Ehrenmanner might be able to ramp up. Once some of those cauterizes, maybe some wreckers come online for them, maybe they start to get more involved. But Triple Tank tends to win this matchup between Triple Tank and Triple DPS. The percentages, I don't know what they are, but they tend to lean towards Triple Tank. I think Flashpoint will feel good about the draft they've got.
Well, you've got a minute 40 left on the clock, and the point is steadily pushing on Flashpoint's side. You have the Seismic Crash actually ring out, but I don't even know if it actually managed to land a hit effectively. At this case, though, it seems like there's going to be a little bit of a game pause. But once again, the Seismic Crash actually does open things up, at least for him. But it does seem like it's still a little bit off. I mean, they used the Seismic Crash. I don't know who it hit. I just heard it go off in the background.
Yeah, some of those ultimate, because now you're getting to a point on the defense where there's enough time left on the clock where Flashpoint are going to get another couple of chances at pushing. Even if you get full team wiped, especially if you get full team wiped, you'll be able to get back. So Ehrenmanner kind of at the point now where you have to consider how much we want to spend, what we want to spend, because, you know, any ground made up by these triple front lines is just going to be so much harder to defend against right beneath kind of that bridge area. So not surprising seeing some ultimates starting to come out from Ehrenmanner, because this is kind of the do-or-die zone where they're at right now.
Right, exactly. I mean, they were pushing slowly. I mean, they were doing pretty well, but at the same time, they got to be able to put up like this they have to put up more of a defense. Excuse me, especially when you got a minute 10 still left and available on the clock. If Flashpoint run a triple frontline comp, I mean, they're definitely putting on the pressure. It's hard for Ehrenmanner to try and break through it, but they are doing good at defending.
Yeah. And they, you know, just through the Seismic Crash and maybe a couple of their other ultimates, they were able to push back Flashpoint. This is a great spot for iTech to be in as well. This Vivian kind of free firing up in the back line with the Sentinels. It is good until you get an Ancient Raging Makoa up in your face, and things might just start to roll here for Flashpoint.
Well, Anar is experiencing what that's like firsthand, but actually gets knocked back by the combustible. Makoa they're actually able to gain some space, but he's actually still running at him. He got the good hook. The mark's directly on her, too. They're just firing at her. They are going to be able to take her down. Now they've switched targets, or at least Skeppy has, to Ernest. They're all grouped up there, and now Terminus wants a piece, too. He's going to jump up there, get a good smash up there. Pretty much do a lot of damage to people that are grouped up. But still, they're able to free fire. They've got about 20 seconds still left on the clock, so they're able to push in. But I mean, Ehrenmanner, they're struggling a little bit to try and hold.
Yeah, 15 seconds left. You can't really afford even a single pick here. Skeppy with the overpower, if they want to use it, could help his team push this one in. So maybe keep your eyes on that. You also have an Inflame, which charges pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Flashpoint maybe use something just to try to keep things moving.
I agree as well. I mean, Good Lad is just on the side. He actually just was able to move over and actually try and get a hook. He ends up missing, and he's eating a lot of damage too because they're just grouping up there with Grover, staying there to make sure they're all healed up. But the point is still, I mean, being fought for. The overtime is there, and the firebomb gets thrown out directly onto Anar. She's stuck there, puts up the wall just to give herself a little bit more time to live. But Storm Avatar is able to get that kill on the Zen, and that's definitely going to open the door, especially when you have an Inflame to follow up on that. Drogo's Ernest is going to have to drop down, try and take care of him, try to take care of Storm Avatar, but he actually just disengages back with that, gets the last hit on the Vivian. Legacy is able to get rid of Inara, but they're able to push it in. No one is actually able to touch the point on Ehrenmanner's side.
The flank from Ernest there with the Drogos, I think, was at least smartly thought out, but just didn't really come to fruition. Took too long. He never ended up killing Storm Avatar. I mean, he had some great kind of backline targets to be able to get some damage onto. Prosper Logic, Storm Avatar were right there and waiting. But Ernest just wasn't able to finish off a couple of those kills. I think if you were able to kill the Fury and able to kill the Tyra there, things maybe start to lean in your favor. But instead, he was effectively just out of the fight while the rest of his team was trying to keep the payload from going in. So I think it was a smart flank, kind of a smart positioning play there by Ernest. But the last couple of rockets that needed to hit, needed to execute, just didn't.
Right, I mean, you have pretty good slash line so far on everybody's side on Flashpoint, but they are up 2-0. Ehrenmanner is struggling just a little bit. I think that I can see that is that really out of the norm. Of course, the first few shots are going to be fired right now. They're going to be able to get some damage onto people, spread out the damage at least. But once again, we're in the same scenario. 24% with Flashpoint just standing on it, and Ehrenmanner have been unable to touch so far.
All right, 39%, and this fast cap on Ice Mines is where you want to get out to a lead, but we're seeing the same thing. The frontliners of Flashpoint just too difficult to burn through, and they have some good damage on their side as well. Inflame is going to be up very shortly here. Flashpoint have some good ultimates as well. Seismic Crash to start it all off.
Yeah, they're actually going to be able to hit Legacy directly. The Dragon Punch actually comes through, but I don't know if he can turn fast enough to be able to find a hit. He is going to get rid of Good Lad, but Prosper's going to be able to make sure that he can pick up the kill onto Ernest. Now Legacy and the Inara, they're fighting one-on-one. Terminus versus Inara, and they're trying to get the kills. He goes down. He has the reanimate, though. He's going to actually bring it back up. Force Inara off of the point, and with 96%, it's going to be huge. Wow. But an even better ult from Zen is going to make sure they can execute Terminus and get that point percentage they need.
Ehrenmanner need to cleanly win this fight. If you're able to completely wipe Flashpoint, you're going to grab yourself this mid with the fast cap, but Flashpoint just too resilient. They're hanging around too long. Great hook by Good Lad. Keeps Flashpoint in it.
Oh, he's running rapid to the back line. Flawed actually tried to go up and into the window right there. Keep himself safe, but actually drops right next to it, which is going to be enough to allow Good Lad to be able to get the damage. Skeppy gets the last hit, and Flashpoint get their third point on the Ice Mines, already up 3-0 against Ehrenmanner in this first game.
Yeah, they're pushing for the win here. This is what you expect from Flashpoint. Concise, smart, well kind of rotated team fights, and you're seeing sort of the downfall of a triple DPS that can't consistently burn through these front lines, or you know, a team that is able to withstand all of that damage. And honestly, the power of Terminus. Maybe it's an Ice Mines thing, but in general, that is such a powerful ultimate to reanimate. An extra try button, effectively. And they were able to kind of kill him off quickly a second time, but too much focus being spread around onto too many healthy targets for Flashpoint. You know, Dragon Punch connected, but got traded out, and just weren't able to quickly and cleanly win that fight. If you 5-0 Flashpoint, you know, you're winning that mid. Flashpoint are A-OK to take these individual trades, and Now they got a chance to end the game.
I mean, the Legacy's just eating the charge. You actually hear the Inflame go off. Now they're going to be able to converge directly onto Anar. They're forcing her into that little mine shaft, the room right below where Skeppy and Goodlad are standing. She's getting run down, so are the rest of Ehrenmanner, but they're going to be able to back up in time. Anar's not going to be so lucky, though, to be able to escape. Maybe Zin's in the same spot. He is. He gets marked as soon as he gets hooked, and they're going to be able to blow him up as well.
That might just be the only pick they need. Payload continuing to move. Big
Oh,
overpower.
wow, nice overpower.
Connects onto the healer for Ehrenmanner.
Yeah, Falad's going to be the one that actually goes down. Skeppy gets a good overpower, just like we were saying, to be able to make sure they get rid of that healer. And now he's staggered out a little bit. I mean, Class is going to try and go to the point, move on to try and go directly to where they are. Use the seismic crash, but the crossfire is already available, gets stunned, so it's going to go down. And now they're going to be able to force him all the way back.
no.
The battle shout as well, and he actually lived. The battle shout kept him immune, so he couldn't actually go down. Legacy moved himself out of the way as well to make himself a really, really hard to hit target. 28 seconds left on the clock, and Flashpoint are looking to end this game in the very, very first.
You have the spite, you have the whirlwind. Ehrenmanner might just have to kind of sell the house here, ultimate-wise, to try to keep this one from going in. Does help to find some picks. Things get a lot more difficult now for Flashpoint once those last couple of members go down with 7 seconds left. No overtime triggered. So it looks like Ehrenmanner are going to grab themselves their first point of this set. Flashpoint have been looking great on these mid-fights, so something's got to change here for Ehrenmanner.
How do you feel about this Zen, Dave? Do you feel like it's hitting its mark how it should be, or like is it falling off, or what's the...
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think Zen has been the problem necessarily. I mean, the damage hasn't been great. It's sort of a tough composition, I think, to dive into, where, you know, he might spite Skeppy or Legacy or Goodlad and grab the kill. That's sort of what happened there. In the last mid-fight, Legacy used to reanimate, got spited by King Nick. And, you know, yeah, you get the kill, but then it's sort of a weird dynamic where I think Zen is doing fine, by and large. You know, maybe a little bit of extra damage. The kill confirms have been there, which is, I think, what Ehrenmanner have been lacking this game. So I think he, at this point, is kind of spite-dependent. If he's able to grab and execute and get out safely, which has kind of been Zin's downfall as of late, is getting out safely, then I think that's all they really need King Nick to do in this fight. They have plenty of other damage dealers. They just need somebody to get a good execute.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. 45% Flashpoint already. I mean, they've got the Turbis over, they got the Inflame. Crossfire's going to be up soon. Well, past hits. They had the Inflame. They're going to use it to try and fight back, or at least start to look up. The Crossfire comes out as well. Ernest gets picked off by Storm Avatar. You got the Crossfire being used, and he's going to be able to burn down the Anar. Now he's going to try and switch targets. 90% already for Flashpoint. It's steadily building. They won't be able to touch, actually. Because of that, they already take the first game.
That's control. That's control in its finest there from Flashpoint, especially after losing the first pick of that team fight. The kite back, the control, the communication, obviously, that's happening is enough to really keep them in that one. And then saving their ultimates for the right time. The big crossfire from Prosper Logic at the end of the game there just burned through enough of Ehrenmanner to keep their team in it. And that's, you know, I mentioned it early game. I'll mention it here again, but that's kind of the difficulty with triple tank is, you know, yeah, you can get a kill onto Goodlad or Skeppy or Legacy, but then you still have two others who are still doing pretty decent damage that you then have to worry about. So, you know, it's finding the effective trades, getting a clean kind of 5 for 0 if it were only that easy. But you need to come out numbers-wise in a lot of these fights to give yourself an advantage, and they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, 4-16 for Prosper Logic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the best it is that you can get when you got a Tyro on your side. And that Hunter's Mark is just so powerful. I mean, of course, you got to be able to know where to put that out, have the communication with your team to make it work. And they did. They utilized it probably the very, very best it was that you possibly could.
Yeah, you know, Tyra's in an interesting spot where, you know, Hunting Party obviously got tweaked, more normalized damage amp with some of the other ones in the game. But she's still, you know, if she's not running Hunting Party, if she's running Burn Monster, if she's running Mercy Kill, whatever it is, the hunting mark for herself still just buys so much value, especially if you're in a fight where an Inflame gets popped, you stick somebody with the hunting mark. Even if you're not running Hunting Party, you are going to absolutely melt whoever that is. At the end of the day, you know, it might be less damage amp, but it's still damage amp. Anything, you know, increased from 0 damage-wise is going to be better. So, you know, I like Tyra. I think this was a good situation for Prosper Logic and the rest of Flashpoint to bring it out.
I agree, too. I mean, they had the Furia to back them up as well. I mean, Inflame, very, very powerful ult. And that's it for Game 1. We'll have to see how they do in Game 2 right after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back, everybody, after that game number 1. Interesting compositions we saw there from Flashpoint. I like what, you know, they kind of had going for them, right? When you're the favorite in the matchups, I feel like you can get away with those types of comps where it's like, we're going to sit here and you're going to have to try and figure out this problem. Good luck to you. Did you feel like kind of that same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a proven composition, Triple Tank Tyra. They did get aggressive, I think, enough with it, and connecting the hooks, I think, is also key.
We got our guillotine, too. Yeah,
we did get our guillotine, and it was good. I didn't feel like guillotine was bad. It just, the occasional kill wasn't enough to change the fact that they were kind of just losing all the other fights on the map.
That's the whole like core concept of that Triple Tank Tyra, right? They're going to just stand on the objective. You have ways to beat it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if you, mess anything up, they just win, right? If they make any type of play that kind of takes that and one of your resources out, they just win, right? It's by default, that composition is designed to win. Let's head to the map screen, though, see where game number 2 is going to play out. Ice Mines has been a lot of fun to watch this year, and Flashpoint take it for 1. Jaguar Falls will be up next. Kind of similar flavor to a Bright Marsh, which is banned away in this set. A little bit of a snowbally type of action. If you know, you can pick for that if you want, but so many things open to you. On this particular map. I don't know that we'll see the Triple Tank Tyra run back again.
They could.
They could. This is one of the maps you'd want to do it. I'd say here, Ice Mines, Bright Marsh, and Nip have even done it on like Shadow Desert too.
Yeah, it's good on Frozen Guard as well. It's good on the open maps too, because if you get those mobile tanks like a Ruckus or an Ash, you can just go in very aggressively, cover space with your tanks, and not get melted because of the health pools, right? You have a bigger health pool, you can cross more distance, but this isn't not really a map where that's the worry. Genos is going to be the first pick for Flashpoint. Answered with Grover Term by Ehrenmanner, so a lot of sustain. That Siphon blocks theoretically an infinite amount of damage.
Yeah.
So could potentially be good for their sustain if they want to play a slower game, but I don't know if Flashpoint want to do that with that first pick, Genos.
I don't know why they feel the need to rush down Grover. Frankly, with the support already picked up for Flashpoint. Natural secondary pick is going to be the Barrack. Pairs just so well with Genos. I'm smelling 3 DPS, but it could transition into something else.
I think that's just Buck.
It's one of the one of the things, man. One of the things about that Genos Barrack pairing is like it's just so flexible. It's very hard to read, and it gives you that ambiguity through the draft.
Yeah, and right now, I guess Terminus is the point tank, but none of the standard 2-point tanks. They want to have another aggressive side with the Ash Leon. That's a lot of self-sustain, I think. A lot of healing-based sustain, though. So you have the lifesteal on the Ash, you have the presence heal on the Leon. So Ehrenmanner's draft is going to fall off a little bit because all of their sustain tools are gone. That is a great ending if they do get it. And for triple DPS with Victor, Vivian, Buck, it's 3 hit scans.
It's a lot of damage, but you brought up Power Siphon. Blocks an infinite amount of damage. It's just duration-based. Or resource-based, I guess. One or the other. Kind of one and the same. Triple tank this time for Ehrenmanner, supplemented by Grover. It's fun to watch the polar opposite compositions go at it, but with Victor, Vivian, and Luminary, it just feels like they have enough.
They might. If Ehrenmanner win quick, I think it can be good, but as soon as Cauterize is online, that draft is falling off, and it's falling off hard.
That's true. We are on Jaguar Falls, guys. This map can go quick if you let it. Let's get down to the casters and see what happens.
Thanks, guys, from the desk. Of course, we're back, ready for Game 2 of Jaguar Falls. And I'm excited to see how this double backline Victor Vivian is going to work out. Because, I mean, you got the triple front line. We saw how it was played last go-around when Flashpoint had it, and it was more aggressive. I mean, I don't see, for me personally, how Victor and Vivian are going to be able to sit back and just free fire without being contested by them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic. Flashpoint technically running the triple DPS, also bolstered by a Genos. I mean, every single member of Flashpoint, I would say, are one of the best targets to be marked by a Genos, whether it's Victor, whether it's Vivian, whether it's Buck, or it's a Barrack. I mean, Barrack on the front line with a Genos is one of the hardest things to deal with as a point tank.
Oh, man.
It's so dependent on either Prosper, sure, flanking around the entire team and burning down the healer, because they mentioned it on the desk, and I agree. Not much of a fight to cast there is Flashpoint absolutely decimate Ehrenmanner. But, you know, it's kind of dependent on that. If Ehrenmanner are able to stay grouped and that Grover doesn't get killed immediately into the game, Flashpoint are going to have to position themselves well. There's a little bit of dive, not too much, a little bit of dive on Ehrenmanner to make life tough for the backliners of Flashpoint. But between a Buck, a Vivian, and a Victor, I don't know, man. And it being Flashpoint,
Yeah.
it's going to be a tough game.
I mean, I was skeptical at first, but clearly, I mean, they don't need any assistance whatsoever. I mean, they've got it in the bag already with the first point.
Skeptical?
You know, I was debating making that, and I don't know if I wanted to be like the pun guy, but yes, I was there.
There you go.
I was. Thank you for making that point.
I said it for us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, they got the first point, though. So 2 minutes and 10 seconds already left. Flashpoint are looking pretty good. You just have the old steadily building. I mean, the Luminary is so powerful. You see Skeppy's able to pull off stuff like this, where he's just all the way in the back line, and people have yet to turn around and try and deal with him. And they're already pretty low despite that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Ehrenmanner health bars right here, there was a half health I-Tech a minute ago. That's kind of what I expect to be Ehrenmanner to be fighting from the entire game. I think Filleted on Ehrenmanner is going to have a tough time, you know, kind of picking and choosing his positioning, and it's not even so much him. I mean, everyone from Ehrenmanner kind of has to stay grouped because there's just too much damage potential with Flashpoint to move far away from one another, and it's going to be difficult, but there's got to be great communication on who to target, who we're killing first. But I think they needed to win the first couple of points to really give themselves a shot in this, because once Flashpoint get cauterized, this game is even faster.
Yeah, you got a minute 10 left, and the payload's almost there. It's almost to where it needs to be. You got Barrack in the back line doing stuff like this. I mean, you got the Luminary buff to help everybody out. And you see that Victor, you see Skeppy. I mean, you see so many people. They're literally pushing Ehrenmanner all the way back to their base to the point to where, despite having triple front line, they literally cannot move from the part that they were in, which was their spawn.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, sometimes I think there's just not, more analysis needed to be said than just there is too much damage from Flashpoint right now. I think the damage charts tell a pretty good story of the way this game has gone, where Prosper Logic confirmed a lot of kills, confirmed a good chunk of damage, but Legacy as well. I mean, a lot of his shots, have been going toe-to-toe on the point with V-Clax or Ernest or I-Tech or whoever's really taking up that point mantle. So he is pouring a lot of damage into a lot of healthy targets. But that's the threat with the Luminary Barrack. I mean, there's no eyebrow raising if that ends up as top damage in a game when it's a Barrack with a Luminary boost behind him. So, this is, I think, top to bottom, a great draft from Flashpoint, and wouldn't be surprised if I see this mid-fight go much the same, but Prosper Logic not going to be as sneaky this time, so no healer killed off for Ehrenmanner.
Oh, yeah, they're using 2 ultimates just to make sure they can get rid of Skeppy and keep the aggression they already have going. They were wrapping all the way around. The Donchuk is directly on point, followed by the through time and space. It's going to find its mark. No kill, but it's enough damage to be able to have them reconsider standing on the point. 51% to 15 and a 2-0 already for Flashpoint.
Ehrenmanner used a lot here. Lightman going to get used by King Nick. Not going to save his life, but here comes Flashpoint.
Buck Wild being used. Skeppy's all the way in the back line for Falad, but he actually gets feel for. Good good peel by iTech to be able to make sure that their Grover does not go down. He's able to get rid of the buck. But look at how low everybody is. I mean, they are literally living on a thread of life right now. It is so hard for them to really find their way to continue pressuring, but they still somehow were able to make it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Prosper Logic has had to move. They actually might be able to grab this mid because the downfall of triple DPS is if your point tank gets killed first, nobody's there to contest the point. So a good zone from Ehrenmanner, making that large health pool the big advantage they have over Flashpoint work. Prosper Logic, the man sitting in the back line, pouring out damage, doing the best he could, but Legacy, because their team got kind of staggered out, Legacy had to, I think, overextend to try at the last minute, just a little bit too far forward. And once he died, I think all was done there. Great chance to tie the game here for Ehrenmanner, but Flashpoint, they got quite a bit of work to do on this defense.
Prosper Logic just rotating around so frequently, getting all these good shots, especially like that. You just end up getting melted. You step out in a wrong spot, and you just end up dying just like that. I mean, you get a four-man wipe. Now you're looking at a Nara, can potentially stagger her out, or maybe you don't even really have to. You got the turret right there. It's going to be able to fire. Skeppy's going to get the last hit regardless. They do stagger out just momentarily, which is going to be enough time for them to be able to push forward. They've got 1:30 still left on the clock, and they've got 3 ultimates online still. Well, really 4. They just got the dome shield.
And I've loved the way Skeppy has played this buck throughout this game. It's kind of, I don't know. I think it's a great pick here for Flashpoint. I know we've harped on their draft, and we're obviously seeing them do very well in this game, but it's kind of that on-off dynamic where who do we choose to try to identify on Flashpoint? And of course, Prosper is a great target, and Good Lad on the Vivian as well is causing some trouble. But this is so hard to identify. It's like we either need to kill Good Lad, who just got a triple kill, or kill Prosper Logic, because Skeppy is just too hard to lock down. I mean, without a seismic crash, without assert dominance, he can just jump around free and clear and you know, cause a lot of trouble in your backline.
Legacy is looking pretty low, though. Jose Boots going to be there, make sure he can get out alive and at least well. Luminary is going to be able to make sure that he can stay a little bit more lively than before. But he still gets picked off. I mean, they were just able to push in. iTech with the stun, Nick with the fire, with the presence, going to be able to pick off that Barret. 20 seconds left still. 2-1. Ehrenmanner could tie this up. Or, I mean, Flashpoint could just be able to defend in a way that Ehrenmanner won't be able to break through.
Yeah, I maybe use my barrage here, and Prosper Logic agrees, just to kind of soften up some of that front line. Good shoulder bash, mitigate some damage. Didn't actually get all that much value out of the barrage. Oh, wow. Skeppy there to follow up on the kill. Is he going to use the reanimate? No, iTech's going to let it wear out. And I think if VClax goes down as well, this is all she wrote for the defense. And Flashpoint grabbed themselves likely another point here, barring a miracle play from Ernest, but that's not to be. They do use some ultimate, I mean, distinct ultimate advantage going into this fight for Ehrenmanner, and that's what won them that last mid. So you got to be mindful of that if you're Flashpoint. I think this is the triple kill from Good Lad. There's always the threat of Vivian. I mean, very healthy, big shield. I mean, 2,200 health is not that healthy, but the shield, you know, all that is good enough to keep Good Lad alive there. Prosper Logic still undying. Skeppy at 10-3 and 6. That's that 1-2 punch. I'm going to sit back and soften you up, and Skeppy is going to jump on in and finish off those kills.
Yeah, the Rezo is coming online as well. I mean, you're starting to see it now. We've got a lot of stuns. I mean, this is definitely a resilience game. 3-1, though. I mean, Prosper.
Got all caught threes, too. I mean, that's,
right, yeah, that's insane.
Now is the point in the game where Flashpoint should have been starting to win, but they're so far ahead already. I mean, this is so much harder for Ehrenmanner to come back with 4 caught threes for Flashpoint. That whirlwind, everything but the healing, yeah, it's great, but the healing might as well not be there.
39% though already for Ehrenmanner. Flashpoint's 12. They've barely really been able to touch the point, but the best part about that is they're actually able to get rid of the Leon once again, very beginning of the fight, and now they can focus their targets elsewhere. Prioritize different people. They're going to be able to get rid of the Grover. He was low in the back, so was Terminus. He's going to try and get out too. He's going to go down. They've got the reanimate though. He's going to use it. Skeppy's just going to hide right behind that corner. And of course, the presence is going to be able to take care of an already low health Barrick. But 51% to 70. If Ehrenmanner can get back on point, I believe they have comeback mechanic already.
They do. Yeah, you know, we can kind of break down more of the compositions after the game. Just a couple of things I've been noticing. Storm Avatar still with it through time and space and a barrage. Now's the time to go, though, and this is kind of, you know, this is important for Legacy. If he dies here, it's going to be another point for Ehrenmanner.
That's why he has to put down the dome shield. Anar's actually really, really low. Is anyone going to step on the point to try and contest? They don't have overtime. Okay, they do actually. Okay, they still have overtime available for them. They got rid of Skeppy, though. That's definitely going to be the start of something that he already used the dome shield, so he won't be able to actually zone him out as effectively as he would have before. They're going to have to reload. Storm Avatar was able to get the kill on Terminus. The rest of them are able to focus. They still have both of their backliners. Prosper Logic got rid of the Anar. Vivian's already on the side, putting that pressure onto Leon. The Void Grip up on the Ash, shoulder bash to get herself down and away, but she stepped off of the point.
Yeah, too much damage value. You know, the more I kind of look at the way the two drafts were, Prosper Logic did a great job of identifying the Leon at the beginning of those fights, because when you look at the rest of Ehrenmanner's composition, you could really tell Prosper Logic was kind of thinking through his movement and his positioning there, because once Leon was dead, the only way Prosper Logic dies is if he gets way too close to the enemy front lines. You have, I mean, barring, you know, a Grover, between, you know, iTech and Ernest on the Ash and VClax on the Inara, you're never going to outpoke a Victor, of course. Right. I mean, that goes without saying. So, you know, a lot of it was on King Nick to be able to effectively trade those long-range fights, but then you have a Victor Vivian with a Genos behind them in those long-range, you know, engagements, and it was just too much. At 5 and 8, not where you want your Leon to be, and once Leon was gone, that's when you saw Prosper start to move a little bit further forward, because, you know, if there was no assert dominance, I mean, there was a lot that had to go right there for Ehrenmanner, and just didn't quite work out for them throughout this game. I think it was just, this one was won in draft, in my opinion, for Flashpoint. I love Triple Tank. I think they're fun compositions to watch, but I just don't think there was the long range confirm that they needed was all on King Nick. Then you have Skeppy diving in your back line, making life tough. I mean, that right there. I mean, right. Skeppy's either going to flank you, Prosper Logic's going to, you know, shoot you from far away. As long as they killed that Leon, I think these fights were won.
Exactly. I mean, they put so much pressure on her. Like, this part of the replay starts, you already see that Leon's already being picked off. I mean, they know where the problem is. They knew where, I can't really say their weaknesses, but they knew just where to attack and how to hit him where it hurt. And they were able to pick off that Leon, able to get a lot of priority targets, and they were able to do stuff like this where they ended up eventually winning the game.
Yeah, and there were moments where Ehrenmanner were able to rotate their ultimates effectively. Big assert dominance, big seismic crash, locking up some of those backliners for Flashpoint. That was sort of the Ehrenmanner win condition. Right. If they were able to, you know, stun a couple of them out, find a pick here and there. The off chance you get like a reanimate kill. Just, it's not easy enough to do that. That is very specific condition to win that game.
Right. I mean, Ehrenmanner, they had to do their best to fight back. Wasn't good enough yet, though. However, we're going to see if they can at least be able to get a game right in Game 3 after this break.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.
Different flavor, but same outcome here for Flashpoint. They're the ones with the 3 DPS this time around, and they grab the win on Jaguar Falls. And I like that those games are back-to-back, Kresnik, because you get a nice look at what does it look like to win with a triple tank, and then what does it look like, and how do you beat that triple tank when you have the 3 DPS instead. Also like seeing Buck kind of come out, and I know Skeppy's always had a buck. We got to see that. Actually, it's in the HRX highlight video for the console league, right? It's a character that he's pretty synonymous with, and one of the few that actually plays that character to a high level.
Yeah, and I think it was great paired with that composition, because if you're looking at those 3 DPSs, right, who do you want to have a Luminary mark on? It's going to be Victor and Vivian that you want to have marked up. So you play the buck. He doesn't need to have that mark all the time. You can split it between your tank, the 2 backline DPSs. Let Skeppy just live on an island. Let him sustain himself, and then you can amplify the damage where it needs to be.
Definitely. It's a good outcome for Flashpoint. Only one more separates them from victory. We'll head to the map screen here. Take a look at where they are going to look to change, or to finish out this set. Serpent Beach is the map selection by Ehrenmanner. We are in the losers pick section. Works just the same as a best of 7. Of course, after the first 2 maps, either team has had a chance to pick what they want. We'll get into the picks and bans here now. See what we've got. I don't foresee triple tank on Serpent Beach. This is one of the few maps people really have just stayed away from it. I don't have any memories really of it being run here.
I think the high ground being so strong just kind of means it's almost impossible to run it. Because, yeah, you'll have more health on the cart. You'll have more health kind of sustaining there to move forward. But you won't probably have anybody to deal with that high ground unless what? I mean, Makoa Hook, Aerial Assault Ruckus, Inara Summit. It's 2 of those things are things we don't normally see outside of, Unbe, All Business, last week PML for Summit. But
that was funny.
In general, those are things we don't really see, so you'll need some other form of utility, and that's kind of why it tends to be a 2-2 map, just to have that flexibility, be able to actually contest those DPSs harassing you from high ground.
Well, this is the start, at least, to the Ice Mines draft for Flashpoint, and no high ground potential for these 2 front lines, but they can always grab you off of it.
Makoa can equalize. That I think is the biggest thing. That's why he's such a strong pick on this map. But they're probably going to end up with, I would say, maybe even a buck again if they want to have that verticality, or Maeve, of course. But with how we just saw the buck perform, I wouldn't be too shocked to see that come out also.
Buck super solid. Skeppy's already in a rhythm on it. Victor Furia barracks so far for Ehrenmanner. Speak its name and it shall appear. Nara is hovered. Willow's hovered as well.
You are not welcome.
There's one character that's good at busting the triple front line. It would be Willow. Console ran a lot of these types of compositions, Kresnik, at the last crossplay LAN, so I don't know if they're going to be looking to try and do the same thing. Again, Flashpoint is one of those, they're one of the main contenders, right? I'm expecting them to really take it to some of these PC teams if they've been slept on, right? I hope that they do have that win potential. But I also hope that they've kind of cooked up something else, since that last appearance.
Yeah, and I think they will. I mean, this you're thinking of the hype unit draft, right? But that was they were running with a sub who was they had to get rid of a DPS for a tank. And they also ran Grok Grover and just half-shelled on the point.
It felt like every console team was running just like some point death ball all-in strat. But sometimes that's the way it goes, I suppose. Grover, final selection here for Flashpoint, the premier healer for the triple tank situation. Drogo, Sky, Victor, enough to shut it down? Enough cleave?
I think the Willow is going to be too much for them to handle.
All right, guys, let's get it down to Serpent Beach and see if Flashpoint can close it out.
Let's see if they can indeed. We're back on Serpent Beach, but once again, we're here with Fawn and Dolson, ready to take you guys right into Game 3. And you got the Sky to counter out the Makoa, or at least to be able to burn those tanks. I mean, it's not a common pick, but it's one that is brought out when you want to do exactly what it was that I was saying. You want to be able to burn those tanks. They're running triple front line. So I respect the pick, but do you think it's enough to be able to stop that?
I mean, it's another triple front line against another triple DPS. I actually like Ehrenmanner's kind of answer into this triple tank a little bit better. They held in there from time to time with the Drogos on Ice Mines. I do think a lot of this game plan comes down to the Sky. I mean, if you're able to get in undetected, debilitate, full rotation of no ammo consumption, all that fun stuff, onto even just one frontliner, and you're able to push that advantage, things are going to be good. Starting off well for them here, you can see Ernest is going to hang on this left-hand side. But you can also see how little damage that Sky does at the moment, thanks to, low levels of cauterize. This is one where maybe when the game starts to go on, that Grover hits a little bit less hard healing-wise. But if Flashpoint are able to kind of steamroll it, snowball it in, it's going to be a tough one.
I mean, you see them playing more aggressive. They were playing more reserved last time, literally before their respawn. They came back, and now they're playing sort of like a different team, in my opinion. You already got 72% to their 39 already. Just such a quick adjustment to be able to get themselves back on point and be able to efficiently capture 93% and almost there. They're going to be able to capture the point because no one can touch.
And that's, you know, the downfall. You got one frontliner who's trying to move in there. The Willow, I think, has found some good value for Flashpoint throughout this game. And if that Barrett goes down, which he has a couple of times, you know, kind of middle of the damage charts, it's much more difficult to contest that point. Sky has done well. I mean, just looking purely at damage numbers, 15, 14,000 above anyone else. But I think you have to take damage numbers with a grain of salt when you're looking at a triple tank composition for Flashpoint. I mean, there's so much more health to burn through that it's almost kind of evened out in that sense.
Right. 1 minute and 50 seconds left. You still have the power to be able to keep on pushing. You already see that Willow's pretty much just running him down, but Fury's there to help him out. He's in dead zone, but he got healed up a little bit before they ended up getting dropped. You got the barrage, though. Everyone's looking in orange right now to see who it is they can find. But the Dragon Punch runs out just as he makes it to him. He's going to be able to back up, though. The Seismic Crash and the Whirlwind are going to be used to make sure they can keep themselves alive a little bit longer. Good Lad's going to go down, but good shots from Prosper all the way in the back to be able to fire both onto the Sky and onto the Victor. Victor, though, Falad, actually on the DPS this time, not the support, is going to be able to find himself a double.
Yeah, perfect positioning on this Victor, right where you want to be. You know, all of Flashpoint wants to stay grouped, fight up in that hallway, and they're fighting into a deep backline Victor. And Falad makes good use of that positioning, finds himself a couple of kills, a lot of damage there as well. Good time bomb as well from Ernest, forced some members of Flashpoint out forward in front of those doors, some members out back, kind of split them up a little bit. That buys them some time on this defense. Still not done just yet, though, especially not that they know where Ernest is now.
Yeah, I mean, they already, like you said, they know where he is, and they're definitely looking out for blood right now. They do get the kill on him, and now they're going to be able to go right back to point, get themselves set up once more. It's going to force Victor all the way up at the high ground once again, but Willow is definitely watching that angle. She's causing them to group up, or at least causing them to rotate in different places. The Flutter, followed by the Faith Light, to be able to give himself a little bit more vertical movement. He's looking for the Furia. He is going to find it. Now he's looking at Sky. He's homing in. He knows that she's somewhere in there. He's just firing, and he's going to be able to get the kill. Now they've swapped targets. They're looking at Drogos. Good air shots from Skeppy. A good direct hit from Prosper as well is going to leave him half and done. Same thing for the Barrett. Same thing for the round. You got two ultimates up, and you almost got a Whirlwind on Flashpoint side.
You know, I love Khan in these triple tank compositions. Just gives you a little bit of extra, like, confirm almost. You know, he is very low as far as damage charts go. Not necessarily that he's doing bad, just purely out of the 10 people in the game. He's at 6 rather. But I just love kind of that added little ability to confirm these kills a little bit easier. You know, a good Makoa hook from Legacy sets up a kill. Good Lad. You really have to hit all of those stone spears to get some good damage stack, but Skeppy just for a moment kind of needs to hang back, free fire just a little bit. Fat Victor, as we sometimes call him. It doesn't do as much damage, but it kind of hangs in there. And, you know, although the numbers, the slash line, all that sort of stuff isn't hugely in Khan's favor, I do think it's a great addition to this triple tank composition, and they're fighting with the lead here, and Prosper Logic's a big reason why as well. That Willow's found some great value.
Yeah, 21% already for him. You got a 2-0 as well. The inflame actually being used defensively to try and allow them away, and they're just going to be able to use that Dragon Punch right onto the Grover. Then they're going to be able to follow it up by getting a kill on the Prosper Logic and Legacy. Skeppy's one of the ones that's left, along with the Anara, who's Good Lad. They're going to pick off him. They're going to look at Skeppy, swap targets. Now they're moving in. Ernest is looking for blood. He's got that movement speed as well, but he's not going to be able to find the kill. One thing he will be able to do is be able to get these dismounts, and Prosper Logic is going to fire up from the top row.
Yeah, you still have one more chance to get back in and retake. A lot of this is going to be on Prosper's back to cleave some good damage in onto Ehrenmanner. Prosper has to be setting up a lot of kills for the rest of his team. You don't have the same bulk of damage. Beautiful hook onto the invisible Sky. Ernest is able to stay alive, though, grab the kill, but an overpower connects.
Yeah, it does. It actually is used. But Skeppy's still going to go down. He's going to be able to throw Barrick off the side, though. The sides would crash to follow up. They're looking at Ernest now. They know he's invisible, but he's stunned. He can't really move anywhere. 60% to 99. Ehrenmanner, all they need to do is be able to touch the point, get that 1 point capture. They're so close. This happened on Jaguar Falls before, but Prosper's already pushing them back. He's already locked in a one-on-one with the Drogos. He's firing shots. A good hook from Legacy is going to allow Prosper to be able to live and also allow them to be able to get that pick like they needed to. They're going to collapse back on the Barrick. Barrick actually can't touch. He moves up, but the time bomb comes out, but it's not going to find anything.
Yeah, the rest, if Ehrenmanner are able to find anything, which they're not, would have just been to help them on defense a little bit. Barrick died twice, once there at the very end, but at the very beginning of that fight, Ehrenmanner had kind of a distinct advantage. They got a couple of kills on the Flashpoint. Remember, you get a kill onto a frontliner. I mean, I'm not a 5v4 advantage is still very big, but as far as like pieces of the puzzle that you're missing, if you lose a frontliner in a frontliner in a triple frontline comp, it's not quite as impactful. King Nick tried. King Nick couldn't get the punch. He did get a kill on the Legacy for what it's worth. They trade out 1 for 1. But it's just, there's so much pressure on your solo frontline to stay alive in a triple DPS comp, and Flashpoint identified that. They burnt down the Barrack. A lot of that thanks to Prosper Logic on the Willow. And there was just nobody left to contest the point.
Yeah, minute 30 as well. The time bomb is thrown out, but it's not going to be able to find anything on that either. I mean, they're just firing at each other, letting loose. The Blast Flower talent is going to be up and available. They're going to get rid of the Victor. And, of course, the Ancient Rage is up too. You can see it right there. The Inflame gets used defensively once again, but a minute 15, who's going to be the one to be able to actually stand on the point? I don't know if it's going to be anybody, and it's not Flashpoint. A clean 3-0 victory.
That's the last time we're going to see them prior to Console Wars in a couple of weeks. I guess 2 weeks from yesterday is when we'll see that. Yeah. So good showing from them. I mean, this is the second place team in this region, but they've only lost once. And you know, as I mentioned at the beginning of this game, there was some, you know, players maybe not able to play, whatever it may be. They only dropped 1 game kind of due to outside circumstances, I would say. So this is not really unexpected. They have been by and far the best team in this region throughout this split. And great to see them, both teams even, trying out some different compositions. Basically, triple DPS or triple frontline for Flashpoint throughout all 3 of these games. And it looks good for them, so I imagine it's something, if the time is right, come Console Wars, and if they're able to, you know, place in one of those top 2 seeds from Console Wars, maybe start to see that in the qualifier bracket as well.
You got 108,000 damage from Ernest, and a lot of the 2 of them actually did really well, but Flash will have a triple frontline composition. They're going to be able to eat a lot of damage, and you see those numbers start to skyrocket in the damage taken. Yeah, and the healing as well. I mean, iTech only able to bring out 54,000.
Yeah.
Storm Avatar on the flip side of that, literally almost 100,000 more healing than him. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the back and forth where technically less of a health pool for iTech to heal, so his healing numbers are going to be a bit lower. Bigger health pool for Storm Avatar to heal, so his healing numbers by nature will be a little bit higher. The Whirlwinds were big this game. At the end of it, 3 caught 2s, 1 caught 1, which is enough to find some good mitigation on the healing, but not enough to really completely make it worthless. So, you know, a triple frontline healer has a lot on his plate. Grover's, easy's not the word, but a good healer to have doing it in Storm Avatar. 100,000 damage above anyone else. Did a great job kind of in that back line, but Prosper Logic on this Willow really helped out Flashpoint. As much of a pressure as there is on the solo front line for Ehrenmanner, there's the same amount of pressure on the solo DPS here for Flashpoint in the triple tank composition. And the Willow, I think, was a great pick, showing their willingness to pick it up as well. You see in our console leagues, our PC leagues, she's almost pick ban every single game, and Flashpoint can make it look well. It's something you're going to have to consider playing against them, playing, you know, for them. You got to watch out for that Willow.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the capability that you would have to be able to bring that out on console and be able to show that you're able to adapt or at least adopt sort of these newer things or these things it is that we typically see on PC. But that's already it for game 1, set 1. Flashpoint take it 3-0 over Ehrenmanner. Right after this break, we'll be right into the next set.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins console league.